Millin here, just returning this Tesla Model Y from a test drive. We've got version 13.2.9 as the FSD in Australia on this vehicle. That's the vehicle information and more details here. We're returning it back to Tesla now, so we can press and hold to go into FSD from park, and we'll just see how the car handles these back roads on the way back to Tesla. About 11 minutes we've got. I did do a fair bit of driving last night and this morning with this vehicle, and overall FSD I'd say would be a 8 or 9 out of 10 in Australia. I expect version 14.2 that they're currently using in America will get this up to very close to 100% over here. A few things I've noticed are really mainly to do with lane placement, which I believe is one of the things that version 14 has significantly improved, if not completely fixed. So sometimes this car will be a little bit late getting on into the correct lane to exit the freeway, and sometimes even freeway entrances, like there might be 2 lanes to go into the freeway and it might pick the 3rd lane, which technically can but would be legal to do so, sort of turning left or right from the wrong lane where it's marked otherwise. So again, I believe all those things will be fixed with version 14.2 or 3 or whatever they release over here, hopefully within the next month or 2. It shows here that the attention monitoring is not available, so it still needs you to touch the steering wheel if that's the case. But that only comes up, I would say, 2 to 3% of the roads that I've tested the car on. I have a suspicion it's to do with high accident areas, because I've noticed there's one spot on the freeway out of the city heading towards the Tesla Millin-AVP location we're going to now, where the attention monitoring is always turned off automatically by the car. When it's on, you can see a little green dot here to the left of that blue steering wheel. So when the green dot is on, it means you never have to touch the steering wheel at all. You just have to be looking forward at the road. You still can't use your phone or anything like that under the current version that we have access to. I believe with that turning the attention monitoring off in some areas, as I was just talking about, I believe that possibly that is similar to the text and drive that they're planning to do in America, where if the car is super confident, like if it's roads with very low accident rates, then those are the roads where in America it won't necessarily monitor that you're not using your phone, but here you definitely can't use your phone at all under the current version, and also under Australian law, I believe in all states. There are some states in America, I think, where you are allowed to use your phone while driving, whereas in Australia, I believe, even if the car software doesn't monitor for phone use, I believe all of our laws prohibit that in all states of Australia, currently speaking. So you can see here it's just travelling along, and we'll be going left in 3.5 kilometres. So all the traffic light interactions I've had with FSD in Australia have been good. There's never been a time where it's tried to run a red light. Oh, actually there is an asterisk on that. Sometimes you've got, again, around freeways, underpasses and stuff like that, sometimes you've got sort of 2 sets of traffic lights, and it's kind of just one big sea of traffic lights where they go red at the same time. There's kind of 2 distinct stopping areas. There was one time last night where it did seem to want to move to the second one, which wasn't appropriate. There's like the first set of traffic lights that has stop signs and stop lines is where it should have stopped in that instance, so I did intervene there. And I also left a voice note, which I don't know if you can see my steering wheel here, there's a little microphone there. So every time you disengage, it prompts you to leave a voice note if you want to. It's optional, and you can just record a few seconds saying what the car did wrong. So as I said, I did that with that traffic light under the underpass where there was the 2 areas to stop, and that was the only time that I believe was the only time that I was trying to run a red light in an area where obviously a human usually wouldn't if they know the area. It is a bit confusing though, because again, when there's that sort of 2 lots of lights with only about 50 metres in between them, it's, you know, people can make those mistakes as well. As you can see there, it did slow down to leave that turning lane free, even though it's not actually distinctly marked as keep clear. And I did have a few experiences last night where there were actual keep clear areas where we're queuing up for the red traffic light, and it did obey the keep clear areas automatically. Also seems to have limited but not full capabilities with drive-throughs and boom gates. So in Brisbane City King George Square parking a couple of hours ago when I was coming out of there, It did seem to kind of stop at the spot where I needed to put my ticket in. Wasn't quite close enough for me to reach, and I didn't know if it was going to stay stopped, so I did disengage there just to actually put the ticket in the machine. And likewise with the drive-through, I did try buying an ice cream from McDonald's last night, and it did sort of stop at the ordering window, but didn't kind of do it exactly as I've seen some of the American demos of version 14, where it actually waits for them to confirm to drive through before it actually moves on. So I think it stopped for me for about 10 seconds at the drive-through speaker, but then it started moving on, so I disengaged there. So definitely drive-throughs and car parks in Australia under the current version 13 are not where they are in America, but you can still see the early signs of where that is getting to, and what improvements or what steps they've made towards having all of that work seamlessly if you're not at all in control of the car. You can see here handling traffic, speed and road positioning pretty much the same way as that I would on these roads. This is not a bad road. It doesn't have the line over that side for parked cars, but roads like this that are like that when there are parked cars on the side, generally speaking, it's been really good. Again, I think one time around Rockley last night, there was a spot where it did kind of go into that lane that was sort of blocked by a parked car, and I did take over. It would have handled it if I didn't take over, but I just wanted to keep the flow of traffic going, so I did take over for that. But again, most of that sort of stopped car, that's an example of it over there. Most of that stopped car detection I found to be actually really quite good. And yeah, U-turns, I'd say a 7 out of 10 for U-turns. There's some U-turns that it's able to do no problems. The one just up here, you'll see in a second where Tesla is. There's a McDonald's there on the left over there, and the car was trying to do a U-turn from the right where most humans would do it, and it actually didn't want to do that tight U-turn coming from towards us and doing a U-turn to get around to Tesla there. So what it did is actually came in, went through the McDonald's car park, so it was coming back in the right direction, and came back around the right way and did that all hands-free. So it is good at I guess resolving any issues that it gets itself into in that respect from my experience. So yeah, overall version 13 I'd rate pretty highly. Definitely not as good as version 14 in America, but there's all indication we'll get that quite soon here in Australia. And yeah, if you've got a hardware 3 car, because obviously the FSD in Australia is only for hardware 4, so if you've got a hardware 3 car, which you can tell by having the little ultrasonic sensors, the little sort of circles around the bumper bar, if you've got one of those, you can't get FSD, but if you do buy a new hardware 4 car, of course, all of those cars have FSD, plus there's some specials if you're upgrading at the moment. If you have purchased FSD on an older hardware 3 car, they'll transfer it and also give you a discount up until the end of this year, apparently. So yeah, quite a few reasons to upgrade, or obviously hold out if you think that hardware 3 will be upgraded at some point to a later computer, or if you think that they're going to make a version of FSD in Australia that actually works on hardware 3. That's jury's still out on that. They've said they will, but who knows. So again, here I would have personally gone over a little bit sooner here into the left-hand lane to turn into Tesla, so we'll see if it misses it or not. Let's see. Yep, there's a bit of a gap there. No problems, straight in, and my guess it may even park in these supercharging bays here on the left. We'll see how that pans out for us. No, it's just going back to the drop-off section. Last night when this boom gate that we just went through was closed, it did park in the supercharging bay for me. So again, a lot of that stuff is pretty close to resolve these days with these cars. So yeah, if you're interested in taking a test drive, I'd recommend just going and seeing Tesla and seeing what you can do to get into one of these vehicles if you want something that's almost completely self-driving. Millin's my name. We've got a few cars we rent out to Uber drivers and stuff. If you want to contact me, I'll put my email in the video notes. Thank you.